know, it seems like every other week, there are headlines telling us that, well, the world is falling apart. Collapse this, crisis this, unprecedented. So at some point, you either panic or you just tune it out, right? But here's the thing, if you can zoom out, you might see patterns starting to form. And those patterns, well, they can matter. So today, well, let's walk through 5 global warning signs that are happening right now in the United Kingdom, across Europe, in China, and right home here in the United States. And we'll look at how these 5 warning signs might affect your prepping plans. Number 1, biodiversity and food system stress. So recently, intelligence officers in the United Kingdom classified biodiversity decline as a national security issue. That's right, not as just an environmental issue, but a national security issue. And you might wonder, well, why? Because when ecosystems weaken, the food systems, well, they get fragile. Those pollinators like bees decline and the soil degrades. There isn't as much nutrients in your food and yields can fluctuate. And well, water can get unpredictable. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have empty shelves in the grocery store tomorrow, but it usually means higher prices, fewer options, and those random shortages. So what do most people do? Well, they buy only week to week. They kind of stay and prepare the same 7 to 10 meals, and then they panic when something disappears. And they'll pay whatever the store is charging. Well, smart preppers, they do something different. They gradually build their food cushion, and they diversify their staples. And of course, rotate what they use, and they're able to create interchangeable meals. So if rice jumps way up in price, well, they have oats and pasta and other grains in their food pantry. So they pivot and use them instead. And maybe chicken gets really expensive. Well, in that case, they're pivoting and using those stored beans, tuna, chili, whatever else they have in their food supply. They are flexible, and that is extremely important in prepping. Because preparedness is not just about having food stacked to the ceiling, right? It's being able to pivot, use something else, be flexible and creative. Warning sign number 2. Well, the U.S. saw over 20 separate billion-dollar weather disasters in a single year. And none of those, they were not hurricane landfalls. They were floods and heat waves, wildfires, severe storms. I started to think it's not just disaster season anymore, it's disruption season. And most emergencies like this are not cinematic. They are merely inconvenient, but maybe inconvenient for a longer period of time. The power can go out, roads close, you can't get to the store. What do most people do? Well, the first thing is assume, hey, it's going to happen over there. It's not going to happen here. And they might own one flashlight, so hey, they're prepared for power out. And of course, they're relying entirely on the grid power, and they don't realize how unprepared they are until after the outage begins. Well, if you're a prepper like me, you prep for inconvenience, not the apocalypse. And you ask yourself beforehand, what would make my household the most uncomfortable first when the power goes out? Is it I need to have heating? Is it I need to have cooling, being able to prepare dinner, or just keep entertained? And that is how I'll figure out what preps I need to have on hand. And of course, we have prepared a 72-hour emergency kit, including a lights out kit. Got a video on that if you're interested. And we make sure we have batteries for our radio so we can listen to weather conditions and track them. And something that's really important is to have some makeshift household repair supplies on hand. Like duct tape, tarps, maybe some plywood, certain tools. All of those are a great idea to keep on hand too. By the way, I hope you're finding this helpful. If you are, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel. It really helps more people see these preparedness tips. Warning sign 3, China reported tens of billions in natural disaster losses. Now these were crop damage, flooding, and even infrastructure strain. But why does that matter to you? You probably don't live in China. Because nowadays, supply chains are global. We kind of figured that out when we lived through the pandemic, right? If crops get damaged or ports are clogged or slowed down, manufacturing stalls, well, what happens? Prices shift and availability shift. So what do most people do? Well, they only shop when something runs out. So what are they doing? They're buying at peak prices. And then they react emotionally when they can't find something on the shelves or there are limited supplies. But they assume prices will normalize pretty quickly. You, as a prepper, on the other hand, you already have a small surplus. You don't have to run out to the store. You've already bought when prices were lower or steady. And by doing so, you've created a margin. And believe me, that margin affects your budget and your stress levels. Warning sign number 4, Europe's 72-hour civil preparedness guidance. Across Europe, governments are encouraging their citizens to prepare at least 72 hours of supplies. And in fact, just in last November, the Dutch government began mailing a 33-page, 72-hour prep guide to all of its citizens. So Europe is establishing that baseline expectation. But here in the U.S., most people think 72 hours, that seems a little extreme. The Emergency Services Department, they'll help us, they'll solve everything. And if not, I can just run to the store and pick up something. But preppers, on the other hand, well, they have that 72-hour kit as their foundation, and they build and build on top of that. For them, short-term self-sufficiency is normal. You got your food, you got your water, you got your meds, your first aid supplies. You are ready. And you keep your documents available. Reminder again, grab-and-go binder. This is invaluable. I have a video on it, and I'm telling you, if something happens, I can grab that binder, race out of the house, and I have all my documents in one place. And they have a household plan for emergencies, preferably written. They're not waiting to be rescued. Warning sign number 5, the just-in-time systems leave little room for disruption. Modern systems out there, they're efficient, they have backups, and when everything works, well, it's pretty amazing. But when just one link fails, well, it can have a ripple effect. So what do most people do? Well, they rely on one power source. They don't have a backup cash supply. They store contacts only on their phone, and they have zero redundancy. Well, preppers are just the opposite. They build redundancy. They keep written contacts, like in that grab-and-go binder. They have alternative power, and they store the extra essentials they might need. Because preparedness is not just about extreme scenarios. To me, it's about widening that margin between yourself and the disruption. Because every one of the warning signs I've mentioned are about shrinking margins. So preparedness, it's about widening those margins again. So what's the big takeaway here? None of these global trends mean the sky is falling. But like I've said, they point to thinner and thinner margins. Tighter buffers, more fragile systems, shorter warning times. So what's my final prepping advice? Well, don't be rigid. Keep flexible. It's very, very important. And don't just stock a lot of everything. Stock smart. And make sure you have plenty and plenty of water stored. Because you need to build resilience in your life and in someone else's headlines. And none of these shifts mean disaster is guaranteed. But to me, it means the world is a little less forgiving than it used to be. So being prepared this year in 2026, well, it isn't being extreme, but it is being extremely practical. So I'd love to know, which one of these warning signs are you noticing most? Is it prices, weather, supply issues? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed, love to have you here. I always focus on real-world preparedness that actually fits real life. To me, small steps done consistently beat those big steps done just once. I've also included a printable checklist in the pinned comment down below. It maps each of these warning signs to some specific prepping steps. No mystery, no stress. I hope you come back where we talk real-world preparedness every single week. And always remember, share the knowledge. Thank you.